We are living single. Ooh, in the 90s kind of world. I'm glad I got my girl. Keep your head up, what? Keep your head up, that's right. Whenever it gets tough, you gotta fight with my homegirl standing to my left. Am I right? Too blue. It's tight like glue. Check it out. Check it out.
You taking me back, Jaybe.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sabby and Jaybe show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. I am one of your hosts, James Fauntleroy. Good to see you, Sabs.
What's going on, Jaybe? Excited to talk about all the craziness.
Oh, yes, of course. Just to let you guys know that Sabby and Jaybe show is every single Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can also see Sabby Sabs later tonight at 8 p.m. You're having a show tonight, correct?
7, because the convention.
7 tonight at 7. All right, so you guys got to know, in less than 2 hours, you guys better be on Sabby Sab's channel. And then, of course, you guys can see me back here on Revolutionary Blackout on Sundays at 1 p.m. for the Jaybe show, and on my channel every single Tuesday at 2 for the Jaybe Font channel. So thank you very much for that. If you guys have not already, go ahead and give a like. This helps us out. So we really appreciate it. We're on our way to 50K. So if you guys can do that, that helps us get even closer to that. While you're at it, if you guys would like to, you guys can also subscribe to our Substack at revolutionaryblackout.substack.com. That gives you email notifications whenever we go live or upload clips, so you don't have to always rely on the YouTube algorithm to do that. Sometimes they miss. It's the way it is, you know. Also, anybody who has any email inquiries, want to submit any stories, or have any questions, you guys can email us at revolutionaryblackout@outlook.com. So thank you so very much. Because we have a few things to get to, I want to say a blanket hello to everybody in the chat. Love you, but we got some stuff we got to get to, because some of these people that we're going to be talking about are long-winded as hell, and we ain't got time for all that. Sorry, that's just the way it is. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about DNC manipulation. Ooh. This was tough, Sabs. This was tough to get through. Now, let me ask you your initial thoughts about the entire thing. I know we're about to go into the last day, like it's 4-day convention, so it's going to be the rest tonight. But from the 3 days that you have observed, what is your overall opinion of the convention?
It's just a lot of BS. Not as much focus on policy as they should be doing. Instead, a lot of focus on, oh, look, we could have the first woman and da-da-da-da. Like, you know, focusing on those things, not really talking about what they are going to do differently for the country. Focusing on Donald Trump's foolishness, which is not to say, I mean, you saw that at the RNC convention where they're focusing on, you know, Biden and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think with both of these conventions, if you're not going to talk about what you're going to do to help the American people, you're wasting your time. To me, it just kind of feels like I'm sitting at a festival or something like that. Like there seems to be no strategy, no plan. I think Kamala Harris has definitely taken a back seat, meaning that obviously she's not doing interviews, but at the same time, like, I feel like the people who are coming out and speaking for her are better at this than her. Does that make sense? Like Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, like they seem to be more powerful on the microphone than she is. So it's almost like we're kind of getting a little bit of a preview of what her presidency may be like, where she kind of just sits in the background a little bit and other people are going to be the voices that come forward, just like what we saw with Joe Biden for the most part.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Really just keep her in the basement and keep her quiet so that we don't hear her fumble and we don't hear her cackle. That's what the amount is amounting to be right now. And from my initial thoughts, it felt like there was some finger wagging towards the left as well. I sensed that from people like Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, especially. That's what I felt. And of course, we can talk about the uncommitted, how they are now in shambles right now, especially since they basically had the Democratic Party essentially thumbed their nose at people who were suffering from, many families have had died in Gaza, were killed by the Israeli state of Israel. So, a lot of these people who are upset at what the Democratic Party is doing, they're not getting their voices heard. And then you and I were both simultaneously live on Tuesday night, and I kept jumping back and forth between the speeches and the protests outside. And so shout out to Status Quo for, their coverage of what was going on outside. And there was standoffs between the protesters and the police. Meanwhile, you had these people cheering on the people in the crowd inside the stadium. So it was really just vibes. And to quote Nick, it was, we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. That's what it was. And it wasn't anything really of what, they didn't give us anything to vote for. It was really, a lot of times it was about, we got to prevent Donald Trump. And this is why Donald Trump is so focused on crowd size. And I'm younger than Donald Trump. I'm like, really?
I feel like I'm watching an award ceremony. You ever watch award ceremonies before, JB? Like like the movie awards or like that kind of thing. I feel like I'm watching the Lifetime Achievement Award or something like that. That's what it feels like, where they're talking about, Kamala did this and, she came from a middle-class family and and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, okay, like we all know that though, like that we get it. We get it. We got it. It's good. Yeah. But we do need you to talk about what you're going to do. So when they are spending a lot of their time criticizing Donald Trump, I don't hear them in that same vein discuss what they are going to do to improve the country, especially economically. And this is very important because Kamala Harris is a part of the current administration. Like, I could understand if she wasn't, then I can understand, like, let me tell people about my background so they know who I am. I totally would get that. But you are a part of the current administration. We already know about your background because you ran for president in 2020. We already know where you come from because you've been talking about this since you've been a part of the Biden administration. What people want to hear now is, what are you going to do differently to differentiate yourself from Joe Biden? And I don't feel like Kamala Harris is doing a good job at that. I don't feel like this DNC convention is doing a good job at that. It seems like the message so much is just, we're not Trump. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, basically. So with that being said, of course, as everybody knows, the Democratic National Convention has been taking place this week. You have RBN members, Nick and Rome, that are down there. We also have one of our RBN Orlando chapter members, Sabby. She is also down there in Chicago protesting against the DNC, along with people from Party of Socialism and Liberation. You have Dr. Cornel West. You, of course, you have Claudia De La Cruz, and you have Dr. Joe Stein, along with Dr. Butch Ware, that are down there also protesting against the DNC, along with many Palestinian activists against the genocide going on in Gaza. So one of the things that we're going to go into is we're going to go into just some of the speeches and give our thoughts on some of what was said. One of the things that I actually want to start off with was Bill Clinton's speech. Now, Bill Clinton spoke last night, and I just want to make sure I get to it. Okay. So I just looking at the notes really quick. So his speech was kind of lengthy. It wasn't as long as Obama's. Obama had a long speech, but Bill Clinton was a little bit shorter than Obama's. But of course, I listened to the entire thing, and I have some thoughts. So let's get into that. Let me share the screen really quick, and we'll get into this piece right here.
Oh, Lord.
Oop. I had it muted.
What about affordable housing? It's a terrible problem in America now. We need more. And affordable health care. That's why the Democrats put a limit on monthly payments for insulin and a $2,000 a year out-of-pocket limit, and are trying to cover more drugs by bargaining for prices. We need more financing for small businesses. We need still to strengthen our alliances. I almost croaked in the first debate of this election season when President Trump said nobody respected America anymore like they did when he was president. Wait. And with a straight face. Look, you got to give him. He's a good actor. With a straight face, he cited as evidence of the respect that existed for us when he was there the presidents of North Korea and Russia.
First of all, one of the things I want to say especially is to Bill Clinton, why is diplomacy a problem? Sabs? You're muted.
Did you catch the part where he said that Barack Obama, he said he was a good actor? I'm like, yeah, you got that part right. You got that part right. But I don't know. I like Bill Clinton. I don't understand why Bill Clinton was invited. Like the dude is really like, obviously you can tell with the speech, he's struggling a little bit there. And honestly, it was Bill Clinton that moved the Democratic Party into a different direction. Right. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm just kind of like, why did you invite Bill Clinton? Why are you going all the way back to Bill? It just, I don't know. To me, that doesn't say move forward because Bill Clinton moved the Democratic Party closer to the right.
Yeah, he did. So yes, and it was the same person. We always tag someone like Joe Biden to the crime bill, right? But who was president that signed the crime bill into law?
Right. Bill Clinton, and we want to talk about the genocide that's happening right now. Who was president when the U.S. government decided that what was happening in Rwanda was not a genocide and then had to come back and later apologize? Bill Clinton.
Yep.
Not the person to meet the moment right now.
No, and also not the person to meet the moment when they essentially gutted welfare for struggling families in this country. And the reason why so many people are struggling even more now is because he gutted welfare. Because the thing is, like, this whole, he acquiesced to the whole welfare queen type of trope, and essentially made it so that it was, well, you just have to work and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, when in reality, that's not the case. That's not how this country goes, because essentially the people who have to pull themselves up by the bootstraps are people who, like us, who were exploited into oblivion. So yeah, when it comes to what Bill said, he is no champion of the poor. And one of the things I want you guys to notice, I want you to count how many times in all these speeches that we cover, I want you guys to count how many times you hear the poor class in this country.
They don't talk about the working poor. Notice they all keep saying middle class. I'm like, what middle class?
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's continue.
I'd rather have the people who respect us now. And one of the things is when you send a signal to the other countries, you want them to know whether they agree with you or not, at least that you're on the level. Here's where you are and what you believe. What are they supposed to make to these endless tributes to the late, great Hannibal Lecter.
Now, he's likening the leaders of the DPRK and Russia to Hannibal Lecter.
We wouldn't be in this situation with Russia if Bill Clinton would have honored his agreement with Russia. I just want everyone to really take that in. We wouldn't even be in this situation if it wasn't for him.
Sabs, are you referring to the movement of eastward with NATO, where they actually promised? Was it Gorbachev, or was it Gorbachev or Khrushchev? I can't remember, but I think it was Gorbachev, where they promised them that they would not move NATO 1 inch eastward, and then they lied and continued to move NATO eastward.
There's that, but then also Vladimir Putin, met with Bill Clinton, and behind closed doors, there was this agreement that obviously, like to your point with NATO, like this was not going to be an issue, and going forward, and obviously Bill Clinton reneged on that. So again, like we wouldn't even be in this situation if he would have kept his promise that he made to Vladimir Putin. A lot of people don't realize these things. Like some of these things, when you look at the international conflicts and some of the domestic issues, I'll give him credit for raising the minimum wage and balancing the budget. I'll give him credit for that. But if you look at some of the things he's complaining about, like he said, the affordable housing and all that stuff, again, like to Jaybe's point, he was the one that changed welfare, right? So there's that. And then when you look at some of these issues that we have abroad, some of these things that were supposed to be resolved under his presidency, he did not keep his promise. And that's part of the reason why we are where we are now. Same thing. Wasn't the Oslo Accords, wasn't that under Bill Clinton? And so you think about where we are right now with the Middle East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bill Clinton really could have had a more positive effect on the Middle East, but because he was owned by corporations too, that didn't really matter. I just want to make a correction really quick. It was someone, Chicken Pot Pie says, no, he's referencing Trump talking about Hannibal Lecter and trying to make a joke out of it, but the point doesn't stand, so the joke doesn't land. Okay. Well, I stand, but even still, like the whole thing, it's like, what does that have to do with actual policy that's actually going to improve our lives? I mean, just taking little cheap pot shots, that's really not going to drive people. And also to anybody who's watching and also in the chat, make sure to take that poll. The poll is basically about the influence of the DNC and how has it actually improved Kamala Harris's chances of getting more votes, or is it diminishing, or neither? So go ahead and make sure to take that poll as well. But thank you very much for that. All right, so you see. I think that was what I wanted to cover from Bill Clinton's speech for the most part. All right, so
because the rest was just a bunch of rambling. That's why I'm not highlighting him tonight, because the rest was just a bunch of rambling. But I will say to this is that bringing on Bill Clinton, it takes us back to a time where, again, I thought, we're trying to move past some of these things. And to me, it's just not a good look to invite the person who signed the crime bill into law to come speak on the stage when you're trying to, get a woman of color elected. And then on top of that, Kamala Harris was a cop. You know what I mean? It's just not a good look. I don't know who thinks of these things, but it's just not a good look.
Yeah, of course. There's just one more piece that I wanted to share. I'm sorry, but this guy, he says this one thing about the election system, and I just want to cover this.
The other day, her opponent implied that as his people voted one more time, they'd be able to rig it from now on and they wouldn't have to vote again. You think they're kidding, but I know a lot of these folks, and most of them are really good people, but some of them think that they are bound to dominate America politically, economically, and socially, and they have to use politics to do it, and they should rig the system. I don't believe that.
So if you don't believe that, then why didn't you speak out against the Democratic Party locking out Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson from competing in the primaries?
Because it's fine when his party does it. Both parties do it. Both parties do it. That's the thing that drives me crazy, JB. Both parties do this, you guys. Okay? So Bill Clinton is just full of it. Just like Michelle Obama's comment about, oh, well, we don't cheat. Yeah, you do. You cheated. You cheated Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson, who were running against Joe Biden, and RFK Jr. actually at that point in time when he was still running as a Democrat. Yes, you do. Both parties cheat. Get out of here.
Yeah. Yep. Jesus. I'm going to go to Oprah. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
All right, because Oprah also gave a speech. Everybody was like, oh my God, it's the big O. Yeah, and when I saw that, basically the billionaire came, it was like, they got the billionaire's approval. Okay, looks like they're gonna, hang on. Let me go here. Just trying to make sure I got my notes ready. 7. All right. Thank goodness she didn't speak that long. So I want to go 11. Okay. All right. Let me share the screen. Thank God I didn't have to sit through these late at night before I went to bed. It would have been a nightmare. Let's continue.
At a registered independent who's proud to vote.
Oh, I want to make sure y'all hear that part.
Do it again. Well, you know what? You're looking at a registered independent.
Hold on. You mean to tell me she's not a Democrat?
No, she's not. She's not. In fact, there was another speech she gave. I can't remember if it was at Stacey Abrams' event. It was at another candidate event that she gave a couple years ago, where she talked about being a registered she's an independent.
Which means that we know that sometimes she chooses the Republicans. That's hilarious. All right, let's continue.
Who's proud to vote again and again and again because I'm an American and that's what Americans do.
Hang on. So she said that that's what Americans do. They vote, right? What about the ones who chose to sit at home? Are they any less American?
Yeah, no, I'm going to talk about some of this tonight. The thing that I want to mention too about Oprah Winfrey is that I want people to realize what the DNC is trying to do here. Yes, Oprah's a celebrity, so, they know a lot of people like Oprah, but primarily a lot of Black people are not too fond of Oprah, right? So this is going to appeal to white suburban moms. That's why they bring in Oprah. And then also because she is a registered independent, notice she does make a point to say that is supposed to try to win over independent voters and say, look, Oprah's an independent and she's supporting, the Democratic Party. So that's, people got to understand, like, this is strategic.
Yep, absolutely. Let's finish this up.
Voting is the best of America. And I have always, since I was eligible to vote, I've always voted my values. And that is what is needed in this election now more than ever. So I'm calling on all you independents.
See what I tell you?
And all you.
What was that sentence?
See what I tell you? I told you this is strategic.
Yep. And mind you, people like you and me are independent. And we're like, hell no to the no.
Hell no to the no. Hell to the no.
Undecideds. You know this is true. You know I'm telling you the truth, that values and character matter most of all. In leadership and in life. And more than anything, you know this is true, that decency and respect are on the ballot in 2024.
So here we go with the decorum argument. The decorum.
So did they learn anything from Hillary Clinton 2016? Didn't Hillary Clinton try to say the same? Similar talking points that like Trump supporters were deplorables, etc. You know, I'm the decent person and yada, yada, and all that kind of stuff. And it's apparent to me they didn't really learn from that, because I will say this. You are speaking down to a specific group of people in the US that are not a part of that. You're speaking down. That's how they hear it. And this is what people like Oprah and Hillary, this is what they don't understand when they make those kind of statements. That's what they will hear, right? So to that point, it's just like the Democratic Party at the DNC constantly bringing up the fact of, oh, the other candidate is a felon. You are speaking down to a specific group of people in the United States that are going to take that the wrong way. Yeah. And I don't mean just Black people. I'm talking about people that also, you know, they may have a felony, but they did their time. And you can have a felony for all different reasons, right? It doesn't mean you killed somebody, but they did their time. And now they're just kind of like, you know, what, right? So just because someone has a record doesn't mean that they're not a decent person. Yeah. And that people change. And so it's this hoity-toity, I am holier than thou, better than you attitude that turns off a lot of people, particularly in rural America, that are working poor. And those are the people that will be more likely to vote for Donald Trump because he doesn't speak to them that way. This is what I think the current Democrat administration, and also when Hillary's running, I think they don't understand this. They don't get this. They've been hanging out with Wall Street too much. They've been hanging out with CEOs of Goldman Sachs and all that stuff. They have become the party of that particular group of people. So the days of engaging with the everyday working man, they don't do that. So they don't realize when they're making these types of statements, you are speaking down to a group of people in this country who some of them may have been undecided, don't know how they're going to vote. And hearing things like that can definitely turn them off.
Yeah. As somebody, like, people may look at me like I'm crazy, but I actually think that if you're going to count, the inmates in a prison and use that same count for the amount of constituents that you have in a district in order to influence your say in government, then those people who are incarcerated also should get the right to vote as well. Because if you're going to count them as constituents, then they also deserve a voice too. Now, they're already doing their time, whatever. But my thing is like, because in other countries, you know, inmates, they vote too. But my thing is, it's like, if you're going to be talking down to them, you're talking down about people's family members.
Right. Right. It may not even be the person who has the felony. It could be the family member. It could be their mother. It could be their brother or their sister. Like, you never know. So when you speak this type of way to people, this is why I think again, going back to 2016, this is why I think Donald Trump was able to win the white working class in rural America, and Hillary Clinton was not. Also, Hillary Clinton was a complete idiot for not going to speak to people in the Rust Belt and campaigning there as if those people didn't matter. She didn't even take the play from her own husband. Bill Clinton knew not to avoid the Rust Belt, and he was able to win those voters. So I just think that it has become like this elite bubble of people that are just making these decisions. And if you disagree with them, then you are seen as a problem. Instead of listening to the working class and what they want and what they're asking for, the Democratic Party just basically looks down at those people. And it's really appalling because we're the majority. They're not the majority. The people that you see up on that stage are not the majority of Americans. So they're looking down on the people that are not in the same class as them.
Absolutely. Let's move on to AOC. She
Oh,
actually, this work is going to cover the first minute or two. It's not going to be long, but I just want to stop at a couple of points because she makes some claims, and let's debunk.
Harris and Tim Walz for your vision. Thank you.
First of all, yeah, the chance. Weren't these the same people that did not like her at first?
Yeah. But she's one of them now.
Yep. They might as well be saying one of us, one of us. Let's continue.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chicago, for your energy. Thank you, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, for your vision. And thank you, Joe Biden, for your leadership. You know, 6 years ago, I was taking omelet orders as a waitress in New York City.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't have health insurance. My family was...
That's not all that she was doing. I'm sorry. She's still doing the shit. Okay. You were an intern for Ted Kennedy. You owned a startup. You weren't just a bartender. And she's still going with this story. I was working class. No, you went to one of the best schools, one of the best school districts in the New York City suburbs. Your father was president of the architecture firm that he worked at. Let's stop it with this, man. You know, I see something in common with her and Kamala Harris. These motherfuckers be lying about how they grew up. And this is a problem. No, these people are cosplaying as working poor. They were not working poor. And the real people who did grow up that way, like Maxwell Frost, who's in your district, right? These people are far and few. Notice how he struggled to get housing in DC when he got there because he grew up working. He really is working poor. Yeah. So this is not, no, man, no. Sorry.
Oh, Sabby, you're an international treasure. Let's continue.
My family was fighting off foreclosure, and we were struggling with bills after my dad passed away unexpectedly from cancer. Like millions of Americans, we were just looking for an honest shake. And we were tired of a cynical politics that seemed blind to the realities of working people. It was then, only through the miracles of democracy and community, that the good people of the Bronx and Queens chose someone like me to elect them in Congress. And America, in my heart, I know from that same cloth of hope and aspiration, we will also elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as presidents and vice presidents of the United States of America.
Remember that that speech in 2004 when it was Barack Obama that said, "It's not blue states, it's not red states, but it's the United States of America." And everybody was like, "Yeah!" Next thing you know, 4 years later, he became president.
Yeah,
She's seizing this moment.
Yeah, she's on that track. I'm laughing because of where you paused it, JB. It's kind of funny. When you look at the video, you see. Oh my God.
Wait. AOC's like,
I hate that I ever donated to AOC. Like, I tell you, if I could do things over again, that definitely would not have happened.
Yep, absolutely. The real face of AOC. Grr.
I am here tonight because America has before us a rare and precious opportunity. In Kamala Harris, we have a chance to elect a president who is for the middle class because she is from the middle class.
Remember what I said about middle class? Remember what I said about poor?
No, but let me say, how is that a rare opportunity? How is that a rare opportunity? There have been a number of presidential candidates that ran that were from the middle class. In fact, Bill Clinton grew up poor. So how is this a rare opportunity? Somebody explain this to me.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
She understands the urgency of rent checks and groceries and prescriptions. She is as committed to our reproductive and civil rights as she is to taking on corporate greed.
But she decided to go with BlackRock as her economic advisors.
She also gave Steve Mnuchin a pass while she went after other people because Steve Mnuchin donated money to her campaign.
Look, there's a reason why I titled this stream the way I did, because this is manipulation. That's exactly what this is. This is manipulate. And then, she knows what it's like to pay bills. She's just like you. She breathes air and drinks water and urinates into a toilet. She's just like the rest of us.
And like I said, so did Bill Clinton. That's the thing. Remember, if you guys ever read about Bill Clinton's background, remember Bill Clinton grew up poor in rural Arkansas. His parents didn't have anything. So I don't know why AOC is pretending like, someone who came, they know what it's like to pay bills just like you. So did Bill Clinton. Now, yeah, some of the others didn't, like Bush, for example. He grew up pretty, affluent. Barack Obama, I would also say, kind of grew up kind of affluent, compared to like the rest of us, at least. But Trump grew up affluent, of course. But again, like I said, she's acting like this is the first time someone's running for president and they didn't grow up rich.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't Jimmy Carter a peanut farmer?
Mm-hmm.
From Georgia. Oh, goodness. I don't even want to finish this. Oh, gosh.
Bernie didn't grow up rich either.
No, he did not.
And she is working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing hostages home.
And that is some BS.
That was the lie of the night.
The lie of the night.
And a lot of people are calling her out for it. And the people in the audience, they're so propagandized and they're so focused on about being a part of their team that they don't even take the time to research and look and see if that's true. They just believe it because a Democrat said it in front of them. They don't even look up the information. Same thing happens with Trump too. Like people who just love Trump or just love the fact that it's their party won't even research and look up some of the things that he's saying to see if it's true. They just believe what's said to them. Isn't that sad?
Yeah. And the sad part is a lot of people do not realize what her national security advisor actually said, he said that she does not support an arms embargo. So if she does not support an arms embargo, that means she's not for a ceasefire. It's really very simple.
They also made a statement that says she also does not support conditioning aid to Israel either.
No. And so my thing is, it's like, if you want a ceasefire to happen, how does a ceasefire happen when the person who you want them to stop, the ceasefire, keeps supplying them weapons and money in order to continue to keep killing people? The
big thing is, like, Kamala Harris is not working tirelessly for a ceasefire. That's totally false. And it's just like the way that crowd just exploded and said, yay, like, you guys are all sheep and you're propagandized and you're just falling for the okie doke.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is why I tell people, you got to leave both parties, because they're continuously lying to you. And, people will look at us and go, well, what do you expect us to do? We have to maintain our particular, our rights that we have won. And I'm like, they're constantly allowing your rights to be peeled back day by day. There's really no difference between them and the Republicans. But the moment I say that, people call me an idiot. People call me stupid. They say, you don't know what you're talking about. When in reality, it's like they're literally saying it right into your face.
But Jaybe, I used to be that way. Like, I look back on it and, people used to try to tell me this. Like, when people tried to tell me these things about Obama, like back in the day, I didn't want to believe it, even though it was right in front of me. You want to hope for the best, especially if it's someone that you supported. And that's just something I always try to keep in mind, is that the majority of Americans that do vote are not where we are. A lot of them are still very much in the parties, in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, and they still believe that the next candidate is going to be the one to make the change. And I think that that's just something that I try to keep in mind, is that a lot of people are not there yet, even though all of this is right in front of their face, because it was in front of my face too when Obama was president. And I still remember trying to make excuses for why what was happening was happening. And so I think what broke that was the 2008, the housing crisis. And then when he decided to bail out Wall Street, that was kind of what made me start to second guess things about him. But I still wasn't willing to completely throw him under the bus immediately. So it's going to take some time, just like it took some time for people to finally realize Joe Biden wasn't shit. It took some time for people to realize, oh, wait a minute, this guy is not on the right track, So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let me share this with you guys, because everybody's going to be like, well, no, that's not true, because she said she's for a ceasefire. Here's Bill Gordon, her national security advisor. He said, Vice President Kamala Harris has been clear. She will always ensure Israel is able to defend itself against Iran and Iran-backed terrorist groups. She does not support an arms embargo on Israel. She will continue to work to protect civilians in Gaza, bullshit, and to uphold international humanitarian law. If you're trying to protect civilians in Gaza, then you would not be sending weapons to the people who are killing the civilians. And yet that's what she's doing. That's what her and Joe Biden are doing.
Right. And they've doubled down on this since that tweet went out. Her camp has doubled down on it since the tweet went out. So this is why, like I said, I think she's not doing interviews. Don't you guys think it's a little strange? Like, since she announced there's no policy platform on her website and she's not doing any interviews?
Yeah. Nope. Absolutely. Here is Darth Clinton herself. Let's hear just a couple words from her.
And she will be a fighter for us. She will fight to lower costs for hardworking families, open the doors wide for good paying jobs. And yes, she will restore abortion rights nationwide.
No,
Is
she
that
can't.
true, Sab?
No, that is not true. And everyone just applauds because they don't understand how the branches of government work. People need to go back and take civics. We need to have a hardcore civics lesson. Maybe we can do it on RBN at some point to explain to people how the branches of government work. How is Kamala Harris going to restore abortion rights nationwide? How is she going to do that? You would do that by codifying Roe v. Wade into law, right?
Mhm.
But here's the thing. Remember that when Joe Biden had the opportunity to do that, when he had the House and the Senate, well, that's technically the Senate, but even when he had the House, he didn't pursue it. They don't have the House. They may win back the House. We don't know, but they don't have it. But to get up there and tell people this is something that Kamala Harris is just going to be able to do, and people hear that and they think, oh, by executive order. No, it's not that simple, because it was the ruling was changed by the Supreme Court. So people have to understand like how the branches of government work. And I think there's a disconnect there. The job creation. She said she's going to create all these jobs. According to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they already created all those jobs. Remember that? What happened to all these jobs they created, Jaybe? Right? We have to debunk that too, because now CNN is reporting that they fudged the numbers.
Absolutely. And so let's just pop around for Barack Obama. One of the things that I have to say, and I sold this to KD Lewis, he was joining me on Tuesday. I said, I can see why people are propagandized by somebody like him, because he is good at his job. He is good at manipulation. Very good.
How many kids we have, who we marry, and we believe that freedom requires us to recognize that other people have the freedom to make choices that are different than ours. That's okay. That's the America Kamala Harris and Tim Walz believe in. America where we, the people, includes everyone. Because that's the only way this American experiment works. And despite what our politics might suggest, I think most Americans understand that. Democracy isn't just a bunch of abstract principles and dusty laws in some book somewhere. It's the values we live by. It's the way we treat each other, including those who don't look like us, or pray like us, or see the world exactly like we do.
So here he goes, like, for instance, he's going along with the whole issue of, with identity and social issues, right? And they tackle the social issue way more than they tackle any policy issue throughout this entire thing, throughout this entire process. It's just like, wait a minute, what are you doing? It's ridiculous. And so that's one of the reasons why, I feel like Obama was there really to just like kind of, pardon me for saying this, but on Tuesday night, I called him an eloquent piece of shit, because he is eloquent and he leads people off of a cliff. He's like the Pied Piper, right? And so that's why I see somebody like Barack Obama as very dangerous.
Yeah. So Barack Obama is very charismatic, right? And he is a great speaker. Like, I'll give him that. He has a way of winning over people.
We live
He has
in a time of such confusion and rancor.
Oh, sorry. I thought I could hear the video. He had a way of, just winning over the room. He's really good at that, right? So he's very charismatic and he has more charisma than Kamala Harris has. He definitely has more charisma than Hillary Clinton had. Let's just be real. So he's good at doing that type of thing. However, there's no substance there. Like, it's easy to jump on stage and say a lot of feel good words without telling people exactly what this administration is going to do differently than the Biden-Harris administration. What is the Harris-Walz administration going to do differently? And none of them are really talking about that, including Barack Obama. Now, he says that, this is America. He said that they welcome Democrats, we welcome everybody, and not Palestinians, apparently. I mean, it's just, look, like, let's keep it real. Liberals have their own version of racism too. It's called covert racism. So it's not as loud and in your face as overt racism, which usually comes from the conservative side. So that's easier to call out. But liberals have their own version of racism. It's called covert racism. And this whole thing that you see happening right now, where the DNC, and in particular, because we had the tweet of Kamala Harris's campaign saying they would not allow a Palestinian American to take the stage to speak after they let a Jewish American family take the stage to speak. That's discrimination. That's just blatant, and people need to call it out for what it is. So that's the covert way of doing it. The overt way of doing it would have been for Kamala Harris to stand on that stage or stand on the stage at a rally like Donald Trump would, and to say, no, we don't want them here. Tell them we don't want them here. Tell them we don't want them here. That's the overt way. So it's easier for corporate media to take a soundbite of that and to spread that around. However, what Kamala Harris's campaign just did, they did that the covert way, because they did it behind closed doors and they said, no, that's not going to happen. Is there anything else that you would like to request? That's the covert way, guys, but they're both doing it.
Yep, absolutely. Let me share this as well, and then we'll get to what you'll be talking about this evening. Hush. All right, so let's get to what Michelle Obama said, because I want to make sure I get to her as well. And then we'll get to what you're talking about tonight on your show.
We will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth.
First of all, we could actually, if you guys actually put reparations for American descendants of slavery as the Democratic Party platform, but you guys don't do so. Instead, you guys are like, well, we'll never get the generational wealth. Well, we could if you guys actually did it, but you guys don't care about that, do you?
Exactly. That's why I was surprised when she made that statement. I'm like, oh, so are you going to start advocating for reparations, Michelle?
Mm-hmm. Goodness gracious. Why do you have to close in on Mr. Soul Below over here? Okay. So.
If we bankrupt a business or choke in a crisis, we don't get a second, third, or fourth chance. If things don't go our way, we don't have the luxury of whining or cheating others to get further ahead. No. We don't get to change the rules, so we always win.
But that's what the Democratic Party did. And I want people to take that to the bank, because look, what did they argue? You had the Becks on, right? You talked to them about Bruce Spiva and his argument in court about the Democratic Party fraud lawsuit.
Yep.
So when it comes to like people like what Michelle Obama said, that also applies to the Democratic Party as well. Let me finish this.
If we see a mountain in front of us, we don't expect there to be an escalator waiting to take us to the top. No. We will never benefit.
Okay. So
Like, who is she speaking about specifically, though, at that point? Because the Obamas, for example, are very wealthy. People not understand how rich the Obamas are. Guys, they have a mansion at Martha's Vineyard. That's just one of their homes.
you remember when Barack Obama said that he just talked about the passing of his mother-in-law, about how, you know, they were mourning that loss. Why didn't he mention his chef?
I remember that. The chef that disappeared, that drowned in the water near their home. That chef, the one that was writing a book.
They ceased to mention. Wasn't that within the last year? Right? So, with that being said, you're going to be covering the last evening of the DNC convention, Sabs. What do you got coming up on the show tonight?
Yeah, so I'm covering the DNC convention tonight, along with the Uncommitted, what's happening there. I've been trying to stay up to date with that throughout the day. The Uncommitted rejection by Kamala Harris's campaign, AOC and Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar apparently has taken a jab at AOC. All this stuff is happening at the DNC convention. So just FYI for people wondering, we're going to talk a little bit about the Oprah thing, and then we're also going to dive into a little bit about the statement that was made about the Biden administration lying about the job report and fudging the numbers. So we're going to talk about that and leading that into Kamala Harris's speech tonight. And then we're going to do a short call-in after the show tonight. And tomorrow, I am going to go live just to cover the RFK announcement, which is happening tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to go live just to cover that story, and that'll be it for me.
All right, Sabs. And I will cover the super chats and everything after you exit. But just one more thing before I let you go. As far as this whole situation goes, do you think that this has improved Kamala Harris's chances of gaining more voters, decreased it, or it's, neither?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not going to make a prediction yet, just because I'm going to wait and see what RFK says tomorrow. Because my prediction is that he's dropping out tomorrow because of things that have come from his running mate, but also they've run out of money. There's that too. They're losing the money, and they've canceled upcoming events. But what I'm waiting to see is if he's going to take Trump's offer and sign on with him and endorse him. Because if that happens, I think these polls are going to change. And I think they're going to change in Donald Trump's favor, because quite a bit of the RFK supporters said that if RFK drops out, they're supporting Donald Trump. So we'll have to see what happens there. But, it's not uncommon for a candidate, I think, to have a bump after the DNC convention, which is why I also think it's interesting that this announcement is happening tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's going to take all of the press. Like, that's going to take a lot of the news cycle instead of the DNC convention. So wait for that, folks.
All right. And just to show, I want you to see the poll so far. If you guys have not, take the poll. But do you think the DNC convention has swayed more voters to vote for Kamala Harris? Got 11%. Vote against Kamala Harris is 21%. Stay home is 38%. And not sure, fam, is 30% out of 328 votes.
Interesting. I have a poll tonight too, but mine isn't as cool as the one we have here. Just like,
it's all good. Anywho, go and see Sabs in an hour on her channel. I'll see you later in the chat on your channel, Sabs. Have a great night.
See you, Jaybe.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. So with that being said, I just want to say, do not allow either party to manipulate you into making you think that you can just get by off of vibes. Because the thing is, it's like I said in a tweet. In fact, let me share that tweet before we close this out. Because I think it is indicative of what, I think, and what I think really should be on the minds of people who do decide to vote. So here's what I said. And you can apply this to anybody. You could be white, black, you can be, gay, you could be disabled, you could be, an immigrant. It doesn't matter. But in this country, I said, black people who support Trump and Harris are being manipulated to think that either of these parties care about us. Neither have a real black agenda or plan for us. They are running on vibes. Vibes doesn't pay my rent. Vibes doesn't keep me housed. Vibes doesn't give me health care. Vibes doesn't stop the extermination of black people by cops or the Palestinian people. Vibes doesn't get rid of systemically racist policies and institutions. Vibes doesn't pay the reparations owed to us. This is one of the reasons why we need to focus on policy, and neither of these parties focus on policy. Let me ask you this. What is the biggest policy plan that Kamala Harris has that was highlighted during the DNC convention? The actual policy that she has laid out. Don't worry, I'll wait. And what is the biggest policy plan that Donald Trump has that's not about social issues? That's not about culture war. Don't worry, I'll wait. And people be like, well, he wants to give us more jobs. Okay. So does Kamala Harris. Increase jobs. What does that even mean? If I have a job that's making $8, $9, $10 an hour, then I would need to have 2 jobs. Guess what? We created 2 jobs with 1 person. You know what I'm saying? This is why leave the 2-party system. This is why RBN, we're post-duopoly. Because they don't care about us. Go with people who actually care about you. And vote for something, not against something, if you are going to vote. And also, by the way, make sure to pay attention to those ballot measures in your state. That's direct democracy. I'm talking about the ones in Florida on my channel. Look into the ballot measures because that directly affects you. So with that being said, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends and your family. Start some conversations. All right, so we're going to go to the chats in the Rumble and Rockfin first. Let me check to see if we have any Rumble rants. I don't know if we have any Rumble rants, but we can always check. Check, baby, one more time. All right. Let me see. I'm looking. All right, we're good on the Rumble rants, and some people definitely in the Rumble chat, so we'll get to those in a second. And let's get to the Rockfin. All right, so Roger Meadows shared this. What's this? So Roger said, okay. All right, Roger. Let me play this really quick because this looks like it's gonna be kind of funny. All right. So Democrats who paid money for tickets to the DNC convention named their favorite Kamala Harris policy. Okay. Let's take a listen. Okay.
Can you be up for a quick interview?
Yes. Yes.
What's your favorite policy of Kamala's?
That's a hard one.
What's your favorite policy of Kamala's?
Her being president.
That's your favorite policy position?
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Because it covers everything that she defends.
I'm really excited for her to restore reproductive rights across America.
How do you think she'll go about doing that?
I don't know.
What a fun question.
I don't know. I'm picking and choosing. I mean, I really like most of them.
So
you have to look at it broadly, right? It's about what she stands for right now.
What's your favorite of Kamala's policies?
I'm trying to think. Well, actually, more of like, well, what Waltz comes in.
All of her policies, everything from I'm non-binary, and so all of the policies for basic human rights to have our own bodies and do with them as we please,
Hang on. To the non-binary fam, right? You can't even name a policy? You mean to tell me you and fam, I assume that you are old enough to be my parent, right? If you cannot name a specific policy for our community as LGBTQ people, that means that you will not get any tangibles for what you demand from Kamala Harris. Fam, you're literally just going off on vibes. That's what you're doing. What good to the LGBTQ community are you doing by sticking with somebody who doesn't actually give you real tangibles that will actually help us? Same thing to the Black community. What tangibles are we going to get if we are literally giving her a job interview right now? And what will you do for us? And she doesn't tell us what she'll do for us? Why are we going to hire her? Oh, because we don't want to hire the other guy. But if the other guy's not going to do anything for us, and she's not going to do anything for us, what's the difference? Let's continue. Jeez Louise, I'm telling you.
Willingness to move forward on affordable health care.
How do you think she'll do that as president?
I think she'll work to motivate the legislature to vote in favor of it.
As like her as a person, just like tops out any policy.
Are you kidding me right now? Blue MAGA. That's it. That's blue MAGA. Because if you did the same thing with MAGA voters, oh, well, I like the policy of him kicking out the illegals, right? Because they're taking our jobs, right? And if you ask Kamala Harris voters what policies you like, well, I like the policy where she'll be restoring or keeping our human civil rights. How? How will she do that? Pull out your phone and tell me on her website the policy, the list of actual policy that she wants to give for people. When it comes to third-party independent candidates, they do have a list of policies because they actually take running for president seriously. They take voters seriously. Thank you very much for that, Roger Meadows. Appreciate you sharing that with me. But that just completely shows how the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are just cults. Cults of personality. And everybody kept talking about, oh my God, we're about joy, right? When it comes to Kamala Harris. You know what's funny? We did not give a damn that Bernie Sanders was this old, kind of surly curmudgeon man because it was about the policy. If you ask a Bernie Sanders supporter in 2020, name me 3 policies that Bernie Sanders is going to do for you. What are the policies that you actually appreciate about him? The first thing people are going to do is Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, a $15 an hour minimum wage. Boom, bam, bam, bam. Thank you, ma'am. And that was it. Because you can list the policies. Boom, 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 like that. Because we were focused on policy. The thing is that people are not focused on policy anymore. What they're focused on is vibes. Vibes. They think you're, oh my God, they think you're stupid. They think you're an idiot. Both Trump and Harris think you are idiots. They think we're dumb as rocks. When in reality, oh, we can show them how dumb we really are. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Boy, oh boy, let's get back to the rock then. These people, I can't believe it. They don't even have a policy that they like. Anna Mayer says, Sabby, that's because they ain't going to do ish for anyone other than their donors. Yeah, and yeah, of course, Oprah is a friend of Harvey Weinstein, and they are completely incapable of even one truth. Yep, absolutely. Let's go to the rest of the chat. Let me cover this. You see, DJ Leader says, what's up, fam? Unfortunately, the numbers will increase for the DNC, pathetic as it is. Unfortunately, some people think that way. You never know. We'll see after tomorrow. Zerpin Cinemax says, yeah, the people who are faithfully watching the DNC already had their minds made up to vote for Kamala because of Project 2025. Yep. All those people that were there, that paid money to go there, you're not swaying them. You're not. Eric T. Red says, yo, good to see you, Eric. Leroy coming in saying, good afternoon, comrades. Gut One says, support BDS. Well, you know what? We definitely support BDS here at RBN. Aaron Blue Shirts Banter says, love the revolutionary shirts. Buying one after the show. Oh, yeah. We got new, we actually have new merch available as well. So if you guys would like to, you guys can also take a look at that. I should actually open the link so you guys can see. Fatman TV says 50K. Here we go. Woohoo. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Sophia says, hello, love you. Love you back, Sophia. Say they your productions, says Big Mike 24. John Cena. It's John Cena says, I hate Kamala. I think she's gaining momentum with the normies. It's sad. Violence says, Genocide Joe and Holocaust Harris, you mean? Yes. Bobby Ishak says, love. Thank you very much. Christian says, it was a glorified pep rally. Do something, LMAO. Yep. Absolutely. Jay Tolbert says, hi, JB and Sabby. Did you see the clip of Chris Cuomo calling off the Dems' hypocrisy about the mega wealthy on the floor of the DNC? I have no use for him, but he was spot on. Why was there, Jay Tolbert, to your point, why was there a venture capitalist allowed on stage at the DNC? They allowed a venture capitalist to speak at the DNC. That's how you know that they were never for the people. Shout out to Gina Viola for becoming a member of RBN channel member. Thank you very much. Clap it up for Gina Viola. Thank you so very much. We have Talkish coming in. Gifted 10 RBN memberships. Woo, Talkish. Talkish is feeling generous. Ooh, thank you very much. All right, so let me go up here. Pull the string says, name one. Name one policy. One, just one policy. That's it. They couldn't even do it. Zoya says, Kamala and Trump running on same platform: border security, mass deportation, corporate subsidies, more fracking, genocide, proxy wars, tax cuts for the rich, privatized healthcare, and stagnant wages. The same stuff that makes America great. Oh, Citizen 2421 says, "Oh my God, make it stop. Very instructive, though I admit." Yep. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. If you guys would like to, there are other candidates out there that are not within the duopoly that you guys can look into if you want to vote. If you don't want to, if you just want to stay at home that day, that's fine. But take that day to stay home, or you guys could get out in the streets and start helping your neighbors and organizing. Instead of voting, organize outside of the electoral politics system. That's what we're doing. That's what's going on with RBN. That's what we're trying to do constantly. We would love to have you. You know, give your money to mutual aid. Give your money to people who are actually going to help. You know what I mean? All right, so let me go here. So thank you for the tip on Rockfin. Roger Meadows, he says, "Duh, I'm voting for the picking your nose policy of Kamala. I warned everyone 2 years ago that pushing 2024 CBIs so you'll have something to vote for just in case there's no one to vote for. Jaybe, just like we look at these people who don't vote based on policy, is saying when they couldn't understand why we were for Bernie. They couldn't understand we were our policy based, not feeling based, two separate languages." You know what? That's absolutely true, Roger. You know, the thing is, it's like, my support for you is transactional because it's my life that's on the line. Vibes is not going to save my life. Vibes is not going to save your life. Vibes is not going to help us, obtain life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Vibes is not going to protect your privacy as an American. Vibes is not going to keep us protected in this country. Vibes is not going to stop the cops from bashing you in the head. Vibes is not going to stop corporations like BlackRock from buying up all the homes and making us into a nation of renters. Vibes is not going to do that. So when people talk about, "Oh, well, we just need to get this person in so that we can stave off Donald Trump," what about 2028? And here's the funny part. I want people to ask this question. If now's not the time to vote third party, what about 2028? Will that be the time? What about 2032? 2036? 2040? 2044? 2048? 2052? When is it going to be the right time for us to go third party? Is it ever going to be the right time? Think about what James Baldwin said. He said, "You've asked me to wait. You took my father's time. You took my mother's time, my brothers, my uncles. You took of all their time. You told us to wait. How long do we have to wait for your progress? You told us to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait." That's like somebody who's starving and hungry, and you're telling them, it's like somebody who's starving and hungry that has a shellfish allergy, right? And so they keep offering you shellfish, and you're like, "I can't have it. I need something different." And they go, just wait. And then each and every time, every 4 years, they offer you a plate of shellfish. I can't have it. All right, just wait. We can't give it to you right now. Just wait. Eventually, you're going to starve to death. We're constantly being told to wait until we starve to death. I'm done waiting. Like Tupac said, we used to knock on the door and ask, please, would you give us some food? Now, it's time to knock the door down. It's time to take it. They've been taken from us. And now those people who have been taken from us are allowed to stand on stage at the DNC convention. The venture capitalists, the Oprah Winfreys, they're allowed to stand there on stage and take from us. And now they're going to tell us, just wait, just wait. Thank you very much for this, Roger. I'm going to share this. One more in your DM. Peep this in their own time. It's part of an interesting thread. Let me share this because I saw this and I forgot to show this, but this is also really important. Thank you very much. Says this woman named Leah Fessler says, I attended the Harris Walks event in Milwaukee and thrilled to support the first female president. I cheered in my seat for 4 hours waiting for Harris. I did not protest because I wore a shirt that said Free Gaza. Multiple armed police and Dems officials kicked me out. There she is with the Free Gaza shirt, and she's being kicked out because she wore a Free Gaza shirt. This is the Democratic Party. This is who they are. They do not care about you. It is sad because here's the crazy part. The uncommitted movement, and Sabby's going to talk about this later, they literally let us sit in at the DNC convention because they wanted somebody on stage who is Palestinian to give a speech. And they told them no. They told them no. They told them no. And Black people, I want you to pay attention. Black people, pay keen attention. Because if they're treating Palestinian people like trash, the way the DNC is, and the fact is that they won't give us Black people tangibles, if you're sticking with them, you're being foolish. And I mean that with love. You're being foolish. You're getting nothing. They're just giving you vibes. They're just giving you feel good. That's it. That's like giving a hungry person a little cup of popcorn. By the time you're done, are you still hungry? Yeah? Well, too bad. Black people, y'all need to start waking up. Y'all need to wake up. Broke people like me, all y'all that are broke in the chat. Y'all need to start waking up. Thank you very much for that, Roger. And then this one too. I hope this lady, I hope she wakes up. She said, I even put on a sweatshirt that said Wise Dems 2020 and waved the sign when they asked me to. My Gaza shirt was sadly covered when the Dems party member who forced me out said point blank, the Democratic Party does not want you here. I cannot express how much this hurts. She said, I am a leftist, but earlier today I was crying listening to Hillary Clinton's DNC speech. I was just so inspired to be part of electing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I told the organizers, I'm here to support you. I am part of this coalition. By excluding me, what do they prove? The answer, the Dems cannot envision or accept a world in which a woman who says free Gaza isn't a threat. Meanwhile, 40,000 innocent Palestinians are slaughtered. They preach freedom and inclusion for who? Clean up your act, Dems. You just keep isolating us and it hurts so bad. She says, here is the sweatshirt I was wearing while they assaulted me and took me out of the event, supporting none other than the Wisconsin Dems. I'm so deeply disgraceful. Also, I am a woman of Jewish heritage whose family survived the Holocaust in Germany and Austria. Anyone who thinks saying free Gaza is anti-Jewish has it and me so wrong. That is part of why it hurts so much. My family did not survive genocide to facilitate another genocide. Thank you for that, Roger. Yep. My thing is, I hope this woke her up. All right, so let me head on out because I am way over time, but I appreciate you sharing that because people need to know they do not care. And we have people who actually do care. All right. So before we end, I will also end on the shout out to patrons, but I at least wanted to share something really quick as well. Please make sure to keep the people who are suffering, not just in Gaza, but also the people who are suffering in places like Tigray and Congo and Sudan and Haiti in your thoughts. And if you are a religious person, in your prayers. I just want you guys to see this as well, because this is the Democratic Party. This is who they really are. This is the Democratic Party. As Palestinian protesters were shouting the names of victims in Palestine at convention goers, and convention goers did this.
The blood of these children shut your house. 13 years old. Sama Abulle.
Say it again. Say it again. Mock them again. Mock the children again. Do it again. Do it again.
18 years old. 18 years old.
Hold up. He just mocked.
Do it again. Do it again.
This dude just mocked the death of a Palestinian child. Remember this. Remember this face. This is the Democratic Party. That's who they are. And for you to be a Black person in America, knowing what we went through, knowing what our ancestors went through, I don't care if you are a child of Black immigrants. We all came on boats from West Africa and brought here under slavery. You know exactly what our ancestors went through, and you're actually doing this? Shame on you. Shame on you for mocking the death of somebody in Gaza because you want to support your genocidal girl boss. These are the type of Negroes that make me feel sick to my stomach. This is why I keep addressing Black people. Because if they're willing to allow this to happen to them, guess what? They're still allowing it to happen to us. But you don't care about them, which means you also don't care about us. Because you're probably still the same one that'll probably look at dudes in the hood and probably look down your damn nose at them. And just call us thugs. And tell us to pull ourselves by the bootstraps. You can get out the hood too. No, bro. Your braids are on too damn tight. Motherfucker. Sorry. It's just, guys like, oh, they piss me off. They piss me off so much. No empathy, no compassion at all. Blue MAGA, that's what they are, man. It really grinds my gears, man.
Look at them.
Yusuf
Hassan, 8 years old. Turn around and join the uncommitted.
Remember these faces. Remember them. Shame and name. These are the people who do not have compassion. No compassion, no kindness, nothing. She has the nerve to wear rainbow colors on her wrist. I want to cuss somebody. I want to cuss these people out. I want to cuss them out. Oh my God. Hold up. Because this person made a point that I think is true. It be your own people. Yup, it be your own damn people. Oof. I want to get, bro. Look, right now, as far as anger level, I'm Nick level right now. If I go Rome level, it is DEFCON, bro. If I go Rome level, oh no, it's DEFCON. You know what I'm saying? DEFCON 5. Anyway, please do not be like these people. Please continue to see yourselves in your neighbors. See yourselves in the people around you. Do mutual aid. Try to help people how you would want to be helped in this world. Continue to be loving people. All right, everybody. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I'm sorry. I'm really so. But like I always say, water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Shout out to the patrons on Patreon. Love you guys. Have yourself a great night.